Welcome back to Money Movers. I'm here in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Formula One Business Summit as Liberty Media hosts investors and partners to kick off the F1 Grand Prix race this weekend. Liberty Media, of course, owns and invests in a number of media, entertainment, and sports assets, including Formula One. It owns MotoGP and investor in Live Nation. Here with me now in a CNBC exclusive in his first television interview since taking the top job back in January is Liberty Media CEO Derek Chang. And full disclosure, I am a member of the McLaren CEO Advisory Board. Derek, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for having us here.
Sarah, it's great to be here. And I want to thank you because I know you were early on into F1 and your Inside Track show was awesome. And I think you educating all your viewers on what F1 is, what our presence in the U.S. has become, has been awesome.
Well, it's also been fun to watch businesses get more and more involved. And these CEOs that we cover every day on CNBC, they're here in Vegas. They're becoming more present in F1. Just general question, Derek, since this is your first major TV interview. You know, Greg Maffei led the company for about 18 years. How are you going to put your stamp on it from a strategic point of view?
Well, look, I think, as you know, I have a long history in sports and media and entertainment. Helped start the Yes Network in New York. I was with DirecTV for a long time, managing their content portfolio, ran the NBA in China. Recently co-founded a company called Everpass Media, which is heavy into the digital streaming space for sports, high-end sports. So I know a lot about these industries, and I think being able to impart that upon sort of the operating companies, Stefano and Carmelo, both at Formula One and MotoGP, is helpful. Be able to speak their language. And then if you pull back a little bit, I think my long relationship with John Malone, as well as Dob Bennett, our incoming chairman, is helpful because I understand what the drill is and what we're trying to do in terms of our shareholders and delivering returns to our shareholders over time.
Okay, so let's talk about that specifically at F1, where we're here. What inning of growth do you think we are in for Formula One?
I think we're still early. I mean, you look at Vegas, which has become where we are now. It's the excitement this weekend is palpable. This is only the third year that we've been here. I flew in from D.C. yesterday on a plane that was just full of F1 fans.
Yes, you came from the MBS dinner, which is interesting.
And you come here, and you know our partners have really leaned in over the last 3 years. The casinos, the LVCVA. This year, we expect to be sold out without lowering ticket prices or anything like that. So the demand has been huge. It's there. Our partners that we've brought in because the race is here, people like Amex and Lego and Disney, they're all activating, you know, this whole entire weekend. Peloton's doing a live show from Vegas. We have Kane Brown and a bunch of other musical acts. I think when you walk around the city right now, it is alive, and it's because of F1.
Well, and you bring up sort of the revenue model, which is interesting. So part of it comes from these sponsorships, an increasing amount, right? There's the TV rights deal, which we'll talk about, but that brings in the revenue. And then also just the ticket sales and promotion. What's the right balance for all of those sources?
Well, right now, it's pretty evenly split between the three categories. More recently, we've seen a lot more growth coming out of the sponsorship category, as we've sort of morphed from what you would have seen 10 years ago when we bought much more on the endemic side, and now much more leaning towards sort of consumer products companies. So people like Disney, PepsiCo, Lego, you see these activations happening. And this is really what we feel has been transformative in terms of the next phase of growth in the sport. Because what it allows us to do is lean on their customer bases and their fans. And those are people we can't necessarily reach just through ordinary, you know, marketing channels. So whether it's Disney or LVMH or Pepsi, their fans are seeing the alignment with us, which is really beneficial to F1 also.
And then there's, of course, the media rights deal. Apple just acquiring the U.S. TV rights in a big deal from ESPN. What do you think is going to be different about F1 with Apple? What are they trying to do?
Yeah, so we have a great relationship with Apple. As you know, they came out with F1 the movie this summer, which did over $600 million at the gate.
I think that brought new fans in?
Brad Pitt's biggest movie ever. Biggest sports movie ever. Yeah, and I think it brought in new fans. I think it sort of not re-energized, but it continued the energy for the existing fans. And you know, in parallel with that, we ended up doing a deal with Apple on the U.S. media rights. And the way we look at it now is sort of the whole media landscape and what we talk about in terms of reach has just changed over time because of what technology has enabled. And now it's not just about sort of what happens in a 1.5-hour broadcast window on a Sunday during a Sunday race, but being sort of always on, always present. I think Apple, with what they can do from a technology standpoint, will really enhance the product and therefore the content and the whole experience. And I think it just continues to drive the brand and drive the awareness of the sport.
Do you think they're going to make a play for global rights when that comes up?
I think Apple will be very active. We're in discussions with them on a multiple set of fronts. It's still very early, and I think we view it as a very strong partnership that we could see it happening in other places, but nothing specific right now.
Nothing to share. Well, that is a big question. You know, the TV viewership in the U.S., it certainly has grown over the last few years from when you first acquired F1, but some people are wondering if it's plateauing and just how much runway there really is for growth in U.S. viewers. What's your best guess?
Oh, I think we're early, and I still think that every day that goes by there, and then you've seen it over the last 3 to 5 years here in the U.S. The number of people that are saying, oh, and their knowledge of the sport, and that comes through watching the sport. It comes through following it on social media. All these different touch points that we want to create with people. It comes from buying merchandise. Showing up at races, and I think that there's still, a ways to go for us, and we're really excited by this.
But in the U.S. in particular, you already have 3 races here, and you don't have any really big star racers that are American. Some people think that that's what's necessary to really up the momentum in this market. What do you think?
I think this brand is a very, very interesting brand for a lot of people here, and we would love to have an American driver. We don't need an American driver to be successful, and I think we've shown that. I think the sort of star power of the existing set of drivers, team principals, that whole dynamic has been amazing for the sport, and I think people have latched onto it, and that's what they've
Well, Drive to Survive has been a game changer on that front.
Drive to Survive has been an amazing proposition for us, and particularly here in the U.S. in terms of the awareness that it drove. And so that, again, talks to our sort of multi-dimensional fan, how we reach them, whether it's people coming to a race, whether it's people buying merchandise, watching Drive to Survive, watching social media clips about, a driver getting married or whatever it is. They love it.
Yes. Well, it helps that they're all young and handsome, the drivers. Derek, we are going to get an American team next season. This is the 11th team. This is new, the Cadillac F1 team. How does that change the business dynamic?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, having an American presence and what Cadillac has, their dealer network, the promotion and the marketing that they can do and get behind it. I was with Mary Barra a couple weeks ago. I think GM is totally behind this thing. And I think that it will be fantastic. And they're bringing Checo back, so that'll help Mexico and Valtteri Bottas. So everyone's excited. And in addition to that, we've got Audi coming onto the grid next year, as well as Ford as the engine for Red Bull. So everyone's really excited about the changes that are happening and coming next year.
Some new regulations, which should make it a little more competitive, which we always like.
It's pretty competitive right now.
It's competitive.
Ask Zach Brown.
But it's true. But the top teams still dominate. I mean, it really is like a 3- or 4-way race. And some people criticize the business and the sport because it's not like the NFL where the worst performing teams are still in the competition.
Yeah, but if you look at it, and there's 10 teams, and you've got 3, 4, 5 teams, and some of the guys in the middle of the pack are coming up. I mean, that's a pretty big percentage of the number of teams on the grid. So if you think about us versus other sports, I actually think we outperform there, and I think it's much more democratic.
I don't know. McLaren's already locked up the Constructor Championship, so we're good there. Just finally, I do want to ask, because you own about a third of...
No conflict there, by the way.
No conflict there. Just a bias. You own about a third of Live Nation, so I do want to ask about this because it's serious antitrust risk around this company. The DOJ, they're set for a trial here. What are your expectations here? How much of a chance do you think there is of having to break up this company with Ticketmaster?
Look, we love Live Nation. We do own a third of it, and we've announced that we're splitting that off into a separate asset-backed security called Liberty Live Nation. That should become effective in sort of mid-December. Michael Rapino and his team are phenomenal at what they do. There's risk in every business. That's sort of their bailiwick, but we have confidence that, regardless of what happens, that we'll have a very successful business.
And then how quickly overall, how do you think about the capital allocation between F1 and some of the investments, MotoGP, also balancing out return to shareholders?
Look, I think one of the best uses, we've announced with the MotoGP acquisition, we're sort of delevering right now, but at the same time, consistently and constantly looking for organic opportunities, ways to put money into the existing businesses where they see opportunity. And I think that's going to be a pretty high return on capital, and that's clearly what we're looking for.
You got to get a Drive to Survive for MotoGP, don't you think? Is that something you can do?
Maybe you can direct it.
That playbook? I don't know. That's how you get someone like me, I think, to a MotoGP race.
Yeah, no, look, MotoGP we think is the next big thing. Those riders, are fearless. I was at a race, guy broke his shoulder. He was running around like, hey, I'm going to get back on the bike next week. And he's out there on social media with x-rays of his broken shoulder, pumping the whole thing up. So these guys are into it. The fan base is passionate, and we think taking the playbook from Formula One, being able to repeat, significant elements of that is really where the opportunity is. So we're really excited.
Well, Derek, thank you for the time, and it's good to be here at the F1 Business Summit. And we look forward to talking to you more on stage about it. Derek Chang is the new CEO of Liberty Media. We also heard from Liberty Media Chairman, by the way, John Malone, earlier this morning, and you can be sure to check out that full interview with our David Faber. It's available right now on CNBC Pro. Includes some discussion here around Formula One and so much else around the media business. Carl.
Sarah, thanks for watching.